It's Newstalk KGVO 1290 1015 FM. It's Shireen and Ryan Newhouse, your host of the Last Best Beer Show.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's my I Love Lucy music for you.
Oh,
Desi! Lucy! I'm expecting, where's your Desi Arnaz impersonation over there?
I got nothing.
Lucy, you in trouble.
You're trying to get me in trouble if you want me to do that.
I know.
Oh, welcome to the Last Best Beer Show. It's another beautiful evening, I'm sure, in Missoula, and we're going to talk about my favorite thing, beer. We got a lot. We got a cool show this week. We will be talking to our friends to the west of us in Libby, Montana, at Cabinet Mountain, and we will be talking to our friends to the south of us at Lolo Peak Brewing about the fantastic food that we have. But the big thing that I want to share this week is we've got another brewery coming to Montana. It's like every week.
Yeah, I know, but it's popular. Why not?
Hey, if they make good beer, I'll drink it.
Where is this one going to be at?
Absolutely. This is going to be added to the Billings, Montana lineup. They've got some great breweries out there already, but what we will see as of February 18th is their projected day. So Saturday, February 18th, is the Thirsty Street Brewing Company, and that's from Shay and Jill Dawson that are planning to open that as well. They are coming they're going to be at 3008 First Avenue North.
That's right downtown.
Yeah, right downtown. Yeah. Well, they'll be on the walking tour. You could walk to probably 5 breweries and 2 distilleries.
I think that's why Billings always gets ranked high when it comes to breweries in Montana. Being raised in Billings, I never put the 2 and 2 together, but the last 5 years definitely has blown up. So welcome to the world of Montana breweries.
You can't beat it. Absolutely. So they're ready to go. They're coming from different places and walks in life. They moved to Billings in 2014. They really are looking for a place to settle down, put some roots, and put a brewery as well. So we'll reach out to them, and we'd love to talk to Thirsty Street Brewing and see what they're up to when they get their doors open.
I hope they have some deal on Thirsty Thursdays with a name like that.
There you go. Yep, new hashtag, same old hashtag.
Yeah, and speaking of hashtags, remember hashtag the Last Best Beer Show. Find us on Instagram at Last Best Beer Show and on Facebook as well.
Love it. Yep, some incriminating photos on there, some fun ones as well.
Yeah, definitely incriminating.
Yes, check it out there. Facebook, Instagram. We're out there, and we're excited to get this show rolling.
Who are you talking to next?
We are going to be talking to Cabinet Mountain Brewing. We have Kristen, we have Sarah, we've got Grant, and it's a fantastic. This week, I've got on the phone with me just some fabulous people that are out in western Montana, probably our westernmost brewery that's here. It is Cabinet Mountain Brewing, and I think they opened in 2014, and when they opened, they were the 45th brewery in the state of Montana. So on the phone, I have Kristen Smith, Sarah Sorensen, and their brewer, Grant Golding. Welcome to the Last Best Beer Show.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. So good to hear from you. I appreciate the call in, although anytime you're in Missoula with your wonderful beer, you're always welcome in the studio. Let me just ask you the most general question first. How's it going out there in Libby, Montana?
It's going great.
Yeah?
Darn good.
Good. Was I right? 2014 you guys opened your doors?
Yes, July 31st.
July 31st, yes. And then just taking off and making... what are your signature beers now?
Well, probably our most popular right now, both in-house and with distribution, is our Yak Attack IPA.
Okay.
We also have an ESB, our Bullbucker ESB. There aren't a lot of breweries making ESBs right now.
That is true. So those are on pretty regularly, and then you're doing some seasonals as well?
Yeah, we actually have 6 in-house flagship beers. Most of them distribute to various degrees. And Grant brews seasonals for us and some limited releases, and keeps all of our in-house customers happy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I know I've tried, I think your Coulter, I don't know if you have these on now, but I have recollections of a Coulter Coffee Porter. I know you did a Spruce Tip Ale. Grant, now, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in brewing and how you came out to Libby and making beer with Kristen and Sarah, or for Kristen and Sarah?
Yeah, sure. I started homebrewing in college probably about 10 years ago.
Okay.
That was in Portland. And I graduated college, got a job as an engineer. Wasn't really thrilled with the company I was working for at the time. And, I quit, worked a few other odd jobs. And then I decided to sort of say screw it and go for my dream and become a brewer. So I went from making like $60,000 a year to making like $25,000 a year washing kegs. I got a job at a brewery in Portland called Lompoc.
Okay.
And sort of worked my way up from the bottom there. Like I said, washing kegs, scrubbing floors, and pretty quickly got introduced to the brew house side of things and started brewing and cellaring. I worked there for 2.5 years. Then I was sort of keeping my eye out for jobs on there's a website called probrewer.com.
Okay. Yep.
And there's that online classified section where they list jobs and equipment for sale. And I applied for this job that I saw posted in Montana. Thought Montana would be a cool place to move and be a brewer. And everything sort of clicked after that. And now I've been here for almost 2 years. And
Excellent. Apparently Montana did not disappoint then.
No, not at all.
No, good. And I guess I'm curious, what's the approach, if you have one, or to brewing? Primarily ales, I suppose, instead of lagers. But is there any approach?
Primarily just, pretty standard American ales, for all our house beers. And we try to do some other unique seasonals and such. And honestly, I think my main approach towards making beer is just to keep it simple. There's a lot of breweries out there making some crazy stuff, and I think when you keep things simple, things turn out great.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
And high quality. That's another part that he didn't really talk about. But
sure.
Really high quality beers, very much so.
It's that is true, and it should be highlighted. It's you get consistency, you get high quality, and I mean you're in a controlled system. How big is your brew system now? And did you do any upgrades, or is it the same system that you had when you opened?
The same system. It's a 10-barrel system. We're set up for about 800 barrels of annual capacity.
Okay.
800. Yeah. Sorry.
Is that and then what does the distribution look like, Kristen, Sarah, anybody? Where can people find your beer outside of the brew house itself?
All over the state. We are from here to Billings, Great Falls, Red Lodge, all points in between. Glacier Park.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We're on at the Rhino right now.
Yes, you are. I had believe it was the double IPA.
Triple.
George, triple, thank you.
Yakety, yeah.
I'm no good at math. I can talk and I can write words, but...
Well, particularly after one of those, math gets a little funny.
that is true.
You barely qualified as a triple, right?
Well, okay, so in case listeners don't know, let's talk about the difference. What is the difference between a double IPA and a triple IPA?
That is up for debate, I guess.
I'm not afraid to be, raising some hackles here in the great debate between doubles and triples. So let's do it. Let's do it.
And I think this is also based on what is it? The Brewers Association's
the style guidelines,
beer styles.
Yeah,
and I believe a regular IPA is somewhere between 6 to 8%. I consider it double 8 to 10, and then anything 10 or over a triple.
And those are percentages of alcohol, so 6 to 8 ABV, 8 to 10 ABV, and then above. So we're looking not necessarily the IBUs, which is measuring the hoppiness of the beer, but we're looking at alcohol content.
Yeah, alcohol content. A lot of people will sort of factor in the IBUs as well.
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
Yep. Yeah, you're just making good beer. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
And that one was really popular, that particular seasonal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could see why. So Kristen, Sarah, feel free to correct me on this because I don't know. I mean, you guys are the only female-owned brewery in the state of Montana, if not the region. Or, I mean, is that something that is a sense of pride to you, or is it sure, we are. We happen to be because we opened a brewery together. Where do you fall on that?
Well, we didn't think about it when we first opened.
Okay.
We just, this was what we were going to do, and we just went forward. But, it's really quite a fellowship of people in the brewing industry. It's very male-oriented. Mm-hmm. So it is pretty unique, I think, at this point that we're exclusively female-owned. But we feel very much in the fellowship of our fellow brewers that our gender doesn't seem to matter.
Great.
But to a lot of our customers and folks that we meet at Brewfest, the women seem to really appreciate our initiative, I guess.
Sure.
So it resonates with them in a way, particularly since a lot of women stereotypically are not your biggest beer drinking market. When they're at Brewfest and they come across our brewery and they have our beer and they find out that we're exclusively women owned, it is kind of a cool thing to have. And as far as we know, we're still the only one. But
great, yeah. As far as I know,
in the works.
And I hope so.
Yeah, not the last, that's for sure. So speaking of Brewfest, I wanted to throw out there to our Missoula listeners, you will have the chance to try Cabinet Mountain Beer on February 19th. That is Friday. That is the Winter Brewfest at Karis Park. I will be there. George's Distributing will be bringing down Cabinet Mountain. I'm sorry I won't see you guys there, I don't think, this time, but I do appreciate you being on the phone with us today and talking about the great things that you're doing.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, Ryan.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you. And we have just heard from Kristen and Sarah and Grant from Cabinet Mountain Brewing. Ask for it at the Rhino. Ask for it everywhere across the state of Montana because they're out there and they're making really good stuff.
And come on up and visit us sometime, too.
Absolutely. It's the most beautiful drive. I have been there for a book signing, and I loved it, and I love Libby, and I will be back myself.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.
Welcome back to the Last Best Beer Show, brought to you each week on Newstalk KGVO, 1290 AM and 101.5 FM. We love putting this show together. We've got great sponsors, as you just heard from. And each week we like to talk a little bit about what's going on in the national beer scene, national craft beer scene. And I like this story. So there are a couple of breweries in Colorado and in North Carolina. So the reason I bring this up is we also have two NFL teams playing in the Super Bowl, one from North Carolina and one from Colorado. So this Super Bowl Sunday, these breweries are going to be a little bit divided. Now I'm talking about New Belgium Brewing, and I'm talking about Oscar Blues Brewing. Now, New Belgium's been in Montana for a while, and word on the street is we will very soon be getting Oscar Blues, but we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. So what's interesting about these two breweries is they are originally Colorado breweries, but both of them have new brewing facilities in Asheville, North Carolina, so not exactly where the Carolina Panthers are located. But these breweries did not miss an opportunity to put a little wager on the game between the crew in Colorado and the crew in the Carolinas there, and a little bit of trash talking, so says Fort Collins, New Belgium's brewery there, Brian Simpson, who's with the New Belgium. And they said that they are finalizing their Super Bowl bet, but what they're thinking is that there's going to be some spicy green chili floated out there if the Panthers win, and we'll get that sent to Carolina. But if the Broncos win, the North Carolina facility is going to have to send back some good old Carolina barbecue sauce. So with Oscar Blues, they're not quite sure what they're going to get back to, but maybe there's beer and maybe there's something else. But that'll be a pretty interesting game to watch, and know that, yes, the house divided there in the beer world. I don't really have a horse in this race, so to speak. I definitely have some respect for some of the players that are out there, but regardless, I'll probably find one or two good beers to have while I watch the game. I've got Eric Johnson, the head chef from Lolo Peak Brewing Company in Lolo, Montana. I've got you on the line. Eric, thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, good. So I was getting to know you a little bit. You're a Montana native. You've got 25 years of experience with food. I don't know, do you call it cooking experience? Do you call it chef experience? But why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into what you're doing at Lolo Peak.
I started as a dishwasher when I was 15. It's been 25 years since then. I started out at Don's Family Restaurant and I've pretty much been doing it ever since. I've cooked all over. I worked in Portland, Minnesota, all over Montana. I've done the catering side. I worked at university for 5 years. I've done all kinds of... So I've done a lot of different varieties of food. And this opportunity just came up that you don't get everyone very often to start your own place. You do your own menu, feature your own food, and they are very much orientated towards the beer being part of the food and scratch made, which you don't see a lot sometimes.
Great. Yeah. My background, my very first job in Missoula like 13 years ago was working with a food services delivery truck, delivering frozen food at 3 a.m. to local drive-through restaurants. So it gave me an appreciation for well-crafted food as well as beer. So
we seem to have the beer's well crafted here. I like to think the food is too.
It certainly is. It certainly is. So when did you join Lolo Peak? When were you? How long have you been with them?
I think it was October of 2014.
Okay. Other than the beer being an integral part, I would perhaps you're also cooking with it. But what is their theme? What is your theme or approach to the food, the cuisine that's there at Lolo Peak?
When I first started, I was trying to feature the beer as much as possible. So really, Pat and Al just kind of gave me free rein on what I wanted to do. So I was experimenting, but I knew that I wanted to feature it. So like our black and tan onion rings, we use a light beer like the Three Needles IPA right now, where we use the No Salmon Pale Ale for the tan part, and then we use the Old Toby Porter or a stout for the black part. So you get two kinds, and then I paired that with house-made ketchup that we make in-house.
Wow.
It features the Lulu Amber, so you try and combine those together to give it a different flavor, texture, and components like that. And then the thing that's unique about our ketchup is it doesn't use any corn syrup or anything like that.
Terrific.
It's a little thinner, and and we make it in-house, so it's, start to finish in-house. And then barbecue sauce, the Old Toby Porter Barbecue, features the Old Toby beer. And that we braise our turkey and the buffalo trout. So I try to get beer in as many places as I could.
Oh, wow.
But the tricky part about beer is that it wants to turn bitter on you when you cook it. So you have to kind of figure out which ones you can and can't do in that. So, which is quite the learning experience. It's not like wine, or it's not like, liquors where they tend to take the heat temperature. Beer tends to want to fight back and not cooperate with you as well.
Wow.
We also do a beer jelly, which is one of the cool things that I had fun doing. A friend of mine worked at a winery, and he was making wine jellies, so I made a beer jelly in honor of him. And it's pretty much open to whatever we want to do. Right now we have a Doppelbock cinnamon Doppelbock beer jelly. So it looks like jelly, tastes like jelly, but we use it on our antipasto plate for pairing with our cheeses, things like that.
Wow.
So pretty much just trying to figure out how to make beer work in a restaurant and that. And then we also use it in our specials and other things like that. And then for the food-wise, we just wanted to try and get things that are just a little bit different, that you don't see a lot of times. And I'd say our banh mi is probably one of the ones that is uniquely different. It's that South Asian style food. It's feature Le Petit's baguettes, which is It's not a pre-made bread that comes frozen in that. Get it fresh every day. So it has a little bit of different texture and a mouthfeel. But then we have pickled veggies on it. It's got the fish sauce, but it goes really well with like the Three Needles IPA.
Okay.
And that. So those are the kind of things that we work towards.
And very locally focused, correct?
Yeah, we use as much as we can. I mean, our bison comes from, as you're driving into Lolo, you see the bison on the left-hand side.
Yep.
Those are from Bitterroot Bison. Troy Westray brings those in and processes it at Lolo Locker, so it's really close. All our beef comes from Lolo Locker, which is processed off 2 or 3 ranches in Missoula.
Okay.
And the pork comes out of Belgrade for the banh mi. All the bread's La Petite. We use one of the small local vendors for our food provider. It's part of our food provider. I just got some Flathead cherries in for a beer that Paul's brewing. Mm-hmm. And we have a local guy who picks huckleberries. We take those. So as much as we possibly can, we try and do as local as we can.
It shows. It shows in the menu there and your seasonal nature. Do you change your menu up with any regularity, or is it based on what products you can get?
We're trying to change it up 2 to 3 times a year. So
okay.
We try and do spring to summer transition, then a fall transition, and then we do small little changes as we just go along. We just had one in December. And that we added some entrees, which we hadn't had before.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a unique environment out here, too, because it's a small kitchen for a big building, which also makes for some extra work and challenges. But
sure.
So far, it's been pretty successful.
Yeah.
We've had a good time doing it.
Well, I've enjoyed all my meals there for sure.
You have a favorite?
Man. That's a good question. I had the last thing that I ordered there was maybe last weekend. It was the drumstick size wings. There were 4 different 4 variations.
Sampler?
Yes, and it was incredible. And there was one that was sort of a sweet hot, very dark.
That's the jerk chicken.
There you go. You got it. And we were trying to place the flavor, and maybe we'll settle the debate. I was picking up cardamom, but am I wrong?
It's allspice.
Allspice.
Spice and clove are the 2 big parts of
and
that.
Clove. Oh, yep. All right. Well, I owe my friend a beer. It's all right. It was a good bet to lose. Yes. So, let me then turn it back to you. What are maybe the top 2 sellers there for food? What are you making the most of?
Right now we're making a lot of burgers. So we switched from sliders. We had sliders in the beginning.
Yep.
Small plate shareable, and then get a lot of requests for burgers. So we have a Montana beef right now that's our number 1 seller for that. And
yep.
then, but it's got Daly's bacon, and then we do beer braised onions on it, which is kind of my homage to the old White Castle. It's the old caramelized onions, cheese, and that.
Nice.
And then we use Daly's bacon on it because everything's a little better with bacon.
That's true.
And then the other big seller we have is our French fries.
Yes, we did get lots of French fries. Good. Is the kitchen open? I'm sorry. Is the kitchen open when the brewery's open, or are there special hours?
Nope. Kitchen's open when the brewery's open, so we're open 11 to 8 every day.
11 to 8 every day.
11 to 8 every single day.
Awesome. Good deal. You guys are easy to get to. Drive south from Missoula and hit the first stoplight. Look to the right. It's that big, beautiful building up there on the top of the hill, and see the tanks.
Right
or come up from the Bitterroot and take the last light and go left. So, well, Eric, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and look forward to coming down and basically sampling everything on the menu if I can.
Excellent. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate the time.
Indeed. Thank you. Good deal. That was Eric Johnson with Lolo Peak Brewing. You guys got to check them out, and it's always a good time. Beautiful space in there. Great place to hang out with your family, your friends, play games, eat food, drink good beer, and you can't beat it. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Last Best Beer Show. We come to you every Friday and Saturday night, and I look forward to all the future shows we have together. Please mark your calendars for Wednesday, February 17th for our next Business and Brews. This one's called Crafting a Business Over Beers. So if you join the School of Extended and Lifelong Learning and the Last Best Beer Show, for this panel, it starts at 5:30 p.m., and we will have speakers that include Paul Gladden from Blackstone, Sarah and Zach Millar from the Dram Shop, Jeff from DraftWorks, Steve from Summer Sun Garden and Brew, and Jen Ewan from Missoula Economic Partnership. We're going to talk for these entrepreneurs about how they started their business. We will have food and there will be beer available, so please join us on February 17th. Until next week, Missoula, I say cheers.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.